Hello, so I am Jeet Bahadur, final year student at Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, National Institute of Technology, Jalandhar. So the topic for my presentation is solvent deasphalting process. So I am submitting this project to Mr. Dr. Shashikant Yadav. So moving forward, these are the contents which we are talking in the further slides for the solvent deasphalting processes. Like introduction part in which we will talk about what is this asphalting, what is solvent deasphalting process and how it happened. Second, we will talk about the deasphalting solvents. Third, we will talk about the process variables which are required for the solvent deasphalting process. Further, we will talk about the solvent recovery, and at the end, we will discuss new approaches which will be used in the solvent deasphalting processes in industry. So, moving forward, we have the introduction part in which solvent deasphalting. So solvent deasphalting, also abbreviated as a SDA, it is a unique separation process in which the residue is separated by molecular weight, basically on the density, instead of by boiling point, and it produces a low contaminated or deasphalted oil that is rich in paraffin. So these are the solvent which we get, and it produces heavy viscosity lube oil based stocks like DAO or feedstock for the conversion units, and it also gives us the bottom product like asphalt or pitch, and asphalt is also known as a bitumen. So moving forward, this is a typical diagram flowchart where we will discuss how solvent deasphalting come to rise. Like first we have upgrading heavy oil process, in which we have discussed a non-catalytic residue process and catalytic residue process. So the non-catalytic residue process which have solvent deasphalting, hydrovis breaking process, thermal processing. The thermal processing is further divided into a delay cooking, fluid cooking, and flexi cooking and vis breaking. For the catalytic residue process, we have residue fluid catalytic cracking, hydroprocessing, atmospheric residue desulfurization, or also known as ARDS process, and last we have uh, aqua processing, AQP. So the main part for the discussion is solvent deasphalting. So the deasphalting solvents. Now we will talk about the various solvents which are used in the deasphalting process, and these are on the norms of the commercially used solvents. So the first we have lighter solvent, and the lighter solvent consists of propane and isobutane. So why these are using? Because they have higher selectivity and they reject all the resins and asphaltenes whenever they are used in the process, and it suitable for the production of lubricating oils. So lighter solvent like propane and isobutane is very much necessary for the production of the lube oils. Further, we have heavier solvents like N-butane, pentane, basically N and iso, and light naphtha. So light naphtha basically have less selective property than the lighter solvent, and it produces higher yields of deasphalting oil or DMO, suitable for the conversion of the feedstock. So further we have general properties of deasphalting solvent, like how it behaves when the temperature is increases or decreases. So the solubility of the oils which we get in a solvent, it will decreases whenever the temperature is increases. The selectivity nature of the solvent is also more when the temperature become greater. So it also increases, and it also exhibits lower critical solution temperatures. So these are the properties which are shown by the deasphalting solvents. Now moving forward, we have processing of DOA. So why we are doing the processing part for the DOA, like we required lube. So the lube, for the production of the lube, we process the DOA, and the production increased by the processing approximately 20%, and the cracking part also give us one third of the catalytic cracking in a refinery can be DAO, basically de-asphalting oil. So the hydro treating part, third one, which is economical part, and it requires less hydrogen and also it requires less investment. So these are the things for the processing of the de-asphalting oil. Moving forward, we have processing of asphalt. Processing of asphalt. So the processing requires blending, visp breaking, gasification. So the processing, the blending part is used to make bitumen or the fuel oil, and the visp breaking part is minimizes the need or the cutter stop in the processing of the asphalt. And third, we have gasification. So the gasification part, what it did is that hydrogen, steam and power functions are used for the gasifications in the process of the asphalt process. So these are the things which we use. Further, we have the variables. So the process variables for the de-asphalting, like we have solvent compositions. The blends, solvent compositions, basically blends of light hydrocarbon solvents. So these are the outcomes of the light hydrocarbon solvents, and it have increased operating flexibility. So the solvent compositions have the increased flexibility of the operating part. Further, we have a variable like solvent to feed ratio, basically S by F. So whenever the S by F ratio increases, the selectivity of DOA definitely improves, or it also gives us the constant DOA yield whenever the S by F ratio increases, basically when we feed to the solvent. So further we are using to give us the economically optimum S by F is used in the de-asphalting process. So basically we use those S by F ratios which is economical and also give us the optimum results for the process of the de-asphalting process. Further we have temperature or temperature gradient. Basically we have oil solubility in solvents the decreases with increase in the temperature. Basically, the temperature increases, the solubility of the oil decreases, as we have earlier talked about this thing. And the other part is that the temperature gradient also improves separation between the DAO and asphalt phases. So whenever the temperature factor comes, it will definitely improve the DOA and asphalt phase. DO for the quality of the DOA, as we have discussed. And fourth one, we have the pressure. So the pressure basically maintained above the uh, vac, vac, vacuum pressure of the solvent at operating temperatures. So these are the process variables which we are using in the de-asphalting processes. So moving forward, we have de-asphalting for the conversion of the feedstock efficient. So the conversion feedstock requires VGO. So it basically did what did it produced through vacuum distillation or broad cut, basically between give us the 370 to 540 degree typically, and it give us DAO or DMO basically, and also it produced through the heavier solvents of the de-asphalting. So these are the feedstock conversion, or basically the preparations required these things. And further we have feedstock characteristics and their effect. So the characteristics of the feedstock for the conversion like FCC or the hydrocracking requires the control on the contents of the following impurities. So basically whenever we are doing the conversion process like utilize catalytic cracking or hydrocracking, we have to take care of the following impurities which will not involve in the cracking part, because if it will get involved, it will definitely decrease or decline the value of our oil, basically the worth of the oil. So these are the impurities like nitrogen, sulfur, metals, basically metals we have nickel and vanadium, CCR and asphaltenes. So these are the impurities which will definitely affect. Now effects of these impurities which we further discuss, like the nitrogen compound. So it neutralizes the acidic function of catalyst, and that is essential for the cracking. So it so the it did the main part because it neutralized the function of the catalyst, which is the main thing in the cracking. So we have to take care that nitrogen do not involve in the impurities impurities in the oil. Further, we have sulfur. So sulfur did that it basically make the catalyst as a poison. Poison. And third, we have the metal part. So the metal, what it may deposit irreversibly on the catalyst surface. So the surface and influence the catalyst. And further, we have CCR or deasphaltinase or precursors. So these are the impurities which affect. Further, we have typically of the feed impurities, stock impurities like feed to unit ratio, in which we have nitrogen, sulfur, CCR, and metal. In the FCC part, we have 0.20 weight percentage. In sulfur, we have 2.5 weight percentage in the FCC, and in CCR, we have 2.0 weight percentage, and in the metal, we have 2 ppm. These are the impurities found in the FCC. And in RFCC, nitrogen is not found, but and sulfur is also, but CCR is 8.0 weight percentage, and metals we have 30 to 50 ppm. And the hydrocracking basically have 0.12 weight percentage of the nitrogen and 3.0 weight percentage of the sulfur, 1.5 weight percentage of the CCR, and metals ppm basically we have 3.0. So further, these are the basic conventional method. Now I will discuss of the modern approaches. So solvent despalting or new approaches like residue decarbonization process or technology like RDCP. The process uses self-catalyzed catalyzed reactor and combines with the solvent despalting. Basically, it acts as a catalyst and it will mix with the solvent despalting. Further, we have non-coking reactor produces light cuts like and distillates in the oil. And further, we have heavy liquid phases is sent to deasphalting. So this is also method. And light cuts or deasphalted oil are blended and e-products for the further processing. So these are the processing approaches way. And further, we have yield of liquid products increases about 10% weight, 10 weight percentage. So these are the things which results to the yield of the liquid products by the 10% weight increase in the weight. And further, we have SDA process is being applied in many ways, allowing the refiner to move towards zero fuel oil production. So these are the things which I am going to I have discussed. Thank you.